read about, and I didn't quite remember some of his trials and tribulations, but saw how he overcame those to be a success and still a success in my eyes. And understand he did it his way. And to hear that, hey, look, not only did I do this, but your great grandmother had a store in Fifth Ward when it wasn't a thing for Black people to own their own.
And you have to have those. Each one of us has a story. Our journey has and is continuously impacting us. By listening to my guests share how they are discovering their best self, you will discover the best part of you. All right, and welcome to Discover Your Best Self podcast. Y'all, today I have with me the serial entrepreneur, trend igniter. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. Mr. David Anderson with me. He's going to talk about all of his ways that to where he's been and where he's going, and also, some marketing. And a huge aspect to his business, you all, is networking. So how does networking really play into business and the price tag for his business? So no further ado, Mr. Dave Anderson, please introduce yourself and tell us where you're from.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Shanice, first of all, thanks for having me on the podcast. Excited to be here after listening to my boy J.O. And I know we have some other mutual friends. Just thrilled and honored to be here. Again, my name is Dave Anderson. I am one half owner of the Heist Agency, formerly of 2010 Media, formerly of Team Enterprises. And we'll get into it, but worn a bunch of different hats, but I am a serial entrepreneur.
Sounds like it.
Through and through.
Yes.
And self-proclaimed trend igniter.
So tell us, what is a trend igniter?
I like to say we ignite the trends, we get the fire started, right?
Okay.
Or whatever that may be.
Okay, I like that. So give me an example. Oh, and real quick, I don't know if I heard what you said. Did you say, where are you from?
Grew up in San Antonio, but Houston is home. I was born in Virginia, went to school in Virginia, but Houston is my home. Let's be sure about that, but I'm from San Antonio.
Nice.
San Antonio made me.
San Antonio made you, great. And so you said, okay, trend igniter, you're what ignites a trend, right?
Correct.
So give me an example of something that you've ignited and what that looks like for a business or whatnot.
Absolutely. And I can never take sole credit for what I've done because I have a team and there are other things that go into it, but I think I can take a lot of credit for some of the success we've seen the Hypnotic brand have recently. We worked with them almost a decade, and I'd like to see some of the tools happening there.
I wonder how, so a decade, how long ago did you stop working with them?
Still working with
them. Okay.
Still
I'm just wondering because for my 21st birthday, everybody was bringing Hypnotic. So, yeah.
Was that last year?
No. That was, let's see, wait, how old am I? No, 12, how long ago was that? Jesus, it's longer than 10 years ago.
Okay.
But I mean, in 2000s, everybody was drinking Hypnotic and everything.
And we are seeing a second resurgence. I'd like to say that I'm part of.
Nice.
Igniting that trend. Additionally, as a club promoter, I feel like, especially here in Houston, I see a lot of the things and tactics and flyer verbiage that I came up with is still being used. So I think those are kind of some of the more visible trends that I've been a part of. Obviously, I've been behind launching several other brands, both in the spirits business as well as people's personal brands. So,
So what's the difference between working with a personal brand and, a business or even a corporation?
Actually, there are a lot more similarities than differences.
Oh, really?
Right? So I think the approach is similar. First of all, you got to be really great. And these are some of the gems that I want to bring to you today.
Right.
Shanice, you got to be great at whatever you're selling or whatever you're doing, whatever you're known for. So if you're a spirits brand, it helps if you're a good liquor, right?
Yeah.
Or if you're an influencer, it helps if you really know the particular category or lane that you live in. If it's travel influence, right? People have to really know you. If you're an artist, you have to be a good artist. So it all starts for what you're known for and what you're trying to sell. Second of all, I think you have to have an extension of your brand or product. So if you're already a brand or product, that's what you're selling. But I see where someone like a Hypnotic, for instance, is now doing popsicles, extending their brand.
Oh, wow. That's really cool.
Or if you're a DJ or a band, having T-shirts, caps, and now merch looks like it's even candles or incense, etc. Right? So just being able to continue to grow your brand. Those are just kind of two of the main gems. A, be good at what you're at. Be great at what you're known for, or what you want to be known for.
Right.
B, have an extension of your brand, something tangible that people can constantly buy online, in stores, etc.
What would make someone want to buy? So, if I'm a brand, right, or even for me, what would make someone buy a T-shirt that says "Discover Your Best Self"? Why would they do that?
I think the story. I think it comes down to the story, right? And then we can keep leaning on Hypnotic. I think there's a story not only from how it was crafted as a cognac and French and a French vodka, but there's even a story to it was created by a former tennis player and then connected with a mentor of mine next door and a promoter, and people can buy into that story for Discover Your Best Self. There's a story. So people that want to buy a T-shirt, not only would they want a well-crafted T-shirt, but they also want to support you and say, hey, I'm part of this community.
Right.
This is Discover Your Best Self community. I know about this, right?
People want to be in the know.
People want to be in the know, and they also want to say, I'm part of this community that's down with Shanice Ruffin and her podcast. Right. We know about this. I want to buy a Yeezy shoe, not because it's a cool, well-crafted shoe, but I'm cool because I'm part of this community. And so that's what I think merch has turned into.
I like that. I mean, I see a lot of popular people, influential people supporting, some of these small businesses that have just emerged. I mean, one of them I actually had on the podcast, it was Life's Journey. And, 50 Cent and, all these people, they're wearing his brand, and it was just because he was able to get it in their hand. But I think they attached themselves, like you said, to the story. And so they really like that. I mean, even what was the Telfair or whatever, the person, everyone saw Beyonce. I mean, obviously that had a huge impact. But once they found out it was a black brand, they even more so wanted to support. And so I think that,
and I think that's becoming big these days. Right now, you just can't be a great product, a great cereal, a great influencer, but people want that deeper story to say, hey, look, I can relate to this story, or this is a story I want to support.
For sure. I can definitely understand that part. And so for you, while you're in your marketing realm, how do you become creative? Like, what are your creative techniques to do something different? I know you mentioned that, you've come up with a lot of phrases and words and things to help promote things. So where does that come from?
Man, I draw my inspiration from a lot of different places. I am pretty old school. I love looking at magazines.
Oh, nice.
Right? I get a lot of inspiration from magazines.
I feel like people don't really buy magazines and look at them like that anymore.
They don't. I love thumbing through magazines. Especially like Vader, Complex, GQ. I really am big on aesthetic, and I'll draw inspiration from there. Draw inspiration from the people around me. I draw inspiration just walking up and down the street, being in creative spaces, hanging out where it's kind of a less traveled path, and where the quote unquote cool kids hang out at. Good for being a fly on the wall and just drawing inspiration from everywhere and saying, you know what, this may be something that we can bring to this brand or bring to this person.
Yeah, I think that's good that you said that, because a lot of times we're so drawn to just wanting to do what is in style and what's popular, and we forget to get in tune with who we are so that we can draw our own inspiration instead of waiting for something else to happen, or just like being invited to the most popular thing. It's like, no, let me go and do what I like to do. And then that's what makes it cool, right? When people start hearing, what you're doing, and they're like, oh, well, what is that? I want to find out about that. And then you become the cool part. Yeah. So I think I could see that. Tell me about a time when you actually were able to do that and like draw out something that was more inspirational or cool, where people wanted to attach themselves, or maybe you didn't have that effect at first.
I think in my nightlife career as a club promoter, that journey, those first hours in the club, and even the first few weeks of the club, sometimes you don't get that immediate return that you had hoped for. You put out the flyer, you're going to send out the email blast, make the phone calls, and it doesn't really catch on. But it's kind of like writing or having writer's block. You just got to kind of keep with it. And then sooner or later, it hits that tipping point where you've reached the right person in the right way, and consistency also is key. When you put out this quality product, and although people may not have heard about it at first, the right people heard about it and like, hey, this is the right environment. The music is good. The ambiance is good. The decor is good. Let me tell a friend.
Right.
And then that friend tells a friend.
Right.
And I think that doesn't only go for events and parties, but also, again, for products and people.
Yeah, I believe you on that one. That I will say, so I've gone to a couple of your events. So one of the ones, yeah. So
I feel like I haven't done that in so long. Jeez.
The one that I really remember was because I love Common, and so we had the Common concert. And first of all, my brother would not leave me alone. He was like, "You're acting really goofy right now. Can you?" I was like, "No, I'm gonna be in the front." I'm like, I have to see him. But I thought that, besides that part, the curated event was really awesome because not only did you have that, I mean, that was the last part, right? But it was sponsored by Tanqueray. I'm very detail oriented, so I remember the whole thing, and even the place where you had it. It was different. People didn't know about it. Yeah, it was a beautiful venue, rooftop. It was places for people to go. And then also the event before, which was the conversation, right? And you were able to bring in other businesses and have them, showcase what they had.
Right.
And that just tells to who you are because it allowed people to, be able to learn about their brand because of what you brought.
Right.
And so I think that that's something awesome that you're able to expose new brands and new people to things that we wouldn't have known otherwise if we didn't go to the event.
Right. I think for your listeners, the bigger story to that, it was the Tanqueray Trunk Show. Geez, the name of it when you slips me. But I actually worked with an agency called Team Epiphany.
Okay.
Ran by a guy named Coltrane Curtis, who I'm really good at setting these virtual mentors, whether I know them or not. But Coltrane, along with a group prior to him called Prasad Brothers, really created what we know now as multicultural marketing, and back then the term was urban marketing.
Okay.
Team Epiphany created this really dope event. I happened to be the local promoter for it, and out of that event, I think it was the guy behind Kith brand was one of their trunk shows featured. But through that, I think the gems to mention are, hey, even if you can't meet the person you want to be your mentor, make them your vision board mentor.
For sure.
Right? So I saw the moves Coltrane was moving, and in my mind, I said, hey, one day I'm going to grow my marketing agency to be like this. And coincidentally, back to Hypnotic, Coltrane does the digital marketing for Hypnotic while we handle field marketing for Hypnotic.
Nice.
So I think the gem there is stick to it, get your virtual mentors, envision in your head where you want to see your business journey or your personal journey go, and it'll happen for you. I'm big on manifesting. Right?
What do you think about, because I know sometimes people are like, okay, don't keep doing the same thing. Obviously, if it doesn't work, but there also is validity in, consistency in doing the same thing over and over until you become the best at it.
Yeah, I think I'm more subscribed to that school.
Yeah.
Keeping at it, refining your skill, honing it. I worked for a short while and closely with Toby and Weeway.
Okay.
And Toby, every Sunday for almost 3 to 4 years, kept doing Get Twisted Sundays. And then
what's that?
Get Twisted Sundays was where Toby would freestyle while Fats, his wife, then girlfriend, and soon a fiance, would braid his hair on Instagram, and he would record a freestyle.
How many people tuned into that at
3 to
first?
4 years. Honestly, I wasn't even part of that. I wasn't part of it until maybe the second or third year, and didn't even know anything about it.
Right.
But you keep doing it, and consistency and quality content is what Tobe taught me. It'll catch on. Because if you're good at what you do, someone will find out. And if you're consistent, you'll be there when the right person finds out.
Right. Definitely opportunity meeting or at the right time, right?
Yeah. Opportunity meeting persistence.
Yeah, I like that one. Opportunity meeting persistence. That works. Because
that's a key to success.
Yeah, because the persistence is happening. Like, you can have opportunity, but if you're not doing it,
Right.
I mean, I've been in several situations like, man, I wish I could do that, but I'm not in a position to take advantage of that yet.
And imagine if you stop too early.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said again, I subscribe to the school of being persistent and being consistent as far as what you're doing and putting out quality work.
And it reminds me of D-Nice at the beginning of COVID. I think he had
with the streaming.
That was,
and next thing you, everybody.
It was. I remember I was listening and I was having an emotional moment. I was like, I'm by myself. I'm in COVID, and so I think I was like crying or something. And then I turned it on and I was listening. I was like, oh, this is dope. And then like everybody just started coming on, and I. But I think I had saw him. So what I did was, because I'm kind of nosy, I was like, let me see where he started off first. And I went down his timeline, and I was like, nobody was watching these. Right. It was like 40 viewers, 80 viewers, just kind of coming on, trickling, and then it went up to like 4 million.
And see, I'm going to go ahead and manifest that for you, Shanice, that I was part of the early, within the first 2 years of being part of your podcast, because watch year 4, you're on TV.
Listen,
boom.
That's where we want to be. So. That's exactly. But I mean, but even more than that, I'm so into wanting, just like, you were able to create that platform. Mm-hmm. I want to tell the stories of people like you and other people that we may not know about, because we have to learn, right? And there's so many business podcasts and information where we can learn about business all day, right? But we want to know, what is it in that person that took them to A to B to maybe they mess around and obstacle, and then finally they made it to C.
Yeah, so, I think the person that can relate to me is, there's nothing traditional about it. Definitely did it my way, figured out my own. The backtrack to my story is, at 15 to 16, I was doing parties and doing events, and it came out of opportunity. I was doing church parties for the church, and the priest.
Everything started at church, though.
It started at church, and the priest decided that these parties were getting too big for our church group. Shout out the Knights of Peter Clay, and someone had to make the money, and if the church didn't want it, me at 16, and shout out Lance, and shout out Marcus, and James, and Calvin, and the whole crew in San Antonio, we knew what to do. And so we took that opportunity, grew it, that turned into us doing concerts. Shout out Lil Kiki, which was our first concert, and this was at 17. Destiny's Child, our second concert.
Oh, nice.
And at that time, they were not the Beyonce,
right,
and Kelly, and then now they were our Astro World buddies.
Right.
But they gave us a chance, and Matthew Knowles gave us a chance, and then.
What does it look? I'm gonna stop you right there. Yeah. What does it look like for someone to give you a chance when you're starting out? And what does your pitch sound like? Because I think a lot of people get stuck in that.
I think for us at that age, we were so young and naive that we didn't know any better. Yeah. Right? So I'm calling the backs of CD covers to talk to managers.
Right.
Managers meet me like, all right, so where's the promoter? It was this kid. And
that's interesting.
Just going for what you know, right? Right. I think there's a true gift in being naive and not knowing any better. And just following your heart and your passion, just doing what you felt was right. My virtual vision board mentor at that time was Master P, and I was just really big on my own. And
I mean, he's still talking about that now.
Doing it my way, flooding the streets with flyers, pre-promoting what your next event is. So that all happened well, and I don't think at that time there was really a blueprint on it. It wasn't a cool thing in the 90s to be a promoter. Everyone wanted to be a ball player.
Right.
So was on the forefront of that. Went to UVA, thought I wanted to do corporate America, had a great internship at IBM thanks to my parents, that's where they were at, and realized that I don't think this corporate life is really for me.
Like it.
So while still in school, one of the biggest influences on my life was my uncle, George Daniels. We call him Uncle Danny. He's out of Chicago, pioneer in the music business, with the #1 independent retailer in America. And he looked at me on a trip from school to Chicago for his birthday party and said, man, you still do those parties? And I was like, yeah, kind of just a hobby. He's like, man, that can be a career. He was like, it's in your blood to be an entrepreneur. And my mom early on had beat in to me at a young age, I was probably one of the youngest kids to know how to spell and know what entrepreneur means. That I was going to be an entrepreneur. Although when I graduated, she thought I was crazy when I said, hey, when I walk across the stage, I'm starting my own business. She got a little nervous in a couple of job interviews. It didn't go too great. Probably wasn't the best.
But that's the mom in her. But then at the end of the day, she still knew that you were determined.
I think she did know that. She knew she had planted that seed. And
how powerful was it for you? Who was it, your uncle?
It was very powerful because I looked up to him. And not only did I look up to him, I actually had access to somebody that was essentially living my dream. Right?
Oh, that's what he was doing.
Did it his way. And I read about and I didn't quite remember some of his trials and tribulations, but saw how he overcame those to be a success and still a success in my eyes. And to understand he did it his way. And to hear that, hey, look, not only did I do this, but your great grandmother had a store in Fifth Ward when it wasn't a thing for Black people to own their own.
And you have to have those gurus or the am I saying that right? Guru. Of the family.
Yeah, the guru.
Griot, sorry. I'm looking at the griot to tell the story of the family. You know, to tell like this is in your blood. This is what we do. You do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it was definitely that push of motivation to say, rethink in college, okay, maybe this could be a career for me. And then from that, coming to Houston, I've been spending, that's kind of my transition from San Antonio to Houston, was the summers were here in Houston. And Houston had always been, this is where my heart was. I knew when I quit, I'd be in Houston because San Antonio was too small to hold me. But got here and knew I wanted to be a part of the entertainment scene and nightlife scene because I saw what was going on in DC, and again creating this virtual vision board in my head of what I was going to manifest.
For sure.
And from there, I went into, knew I didn't want to just be a quote unquote promoter, but through people like, again, Culture and Curtis, a group called Prasad Brothers, knowing that promoting can become a marketing company. And that's where the transition happened. And I did an event called the Tangeray Soul Suite, and that's when I saw, okay, look, promoting could become this marketing agency because I had this captivated audience that not just I want to cater to, but brands want to cater to.
Right.
And it enters 2010 Media, and that was my marketing agency.
And so I love that you said that you looked at the back of the CD.
Yeah.
I would, I don't know what I would have done if I was interested in that, because I find very creative ways to get in touch with people. But that was awesome because you're like, who is it? Who do I need to call? Let me find out, and that's something that I think a lot of people don't do. Is they're like, well, I don't know how to do it, and then that's just it. It's so you can figure it out.
Well, like we were talking earlier for the podcast, you reached out via DM. That is the best way. We have so much access these days.
So much access
through social media, via email, or just old school picking up the phone. And I am still that naive teenager that one of my more recent clients, Uncle Nearest, the way I got in contact with the owner, directly to the owner, was through Twitter and through LinkedIn. And I think some people just think, wow, you're that ballsy just to do it. And my information's out there, let's work.
I mean, well, it's there. Like, why are you there if you don't want to be contacted? And I think it takes people kind of off their rocker and they're like, oh, wait, this person, let me respond. Because then they're like, well, if they wanted, they took this time to reach out, maybe I should at least respond to see what's going on.
Exactly.
I read this article on LinkedIn. I'm a huge LinkedIn person. I find a lot of my guests do there too, just reading articles and then reaching out to either their PR person or whatnot. But the article just talked about people looking for jobs and how the hiring manager is okay with someone just directly reaching out to them, because most of the time they're not being reached out to. It's just the recruiter or whoever, and that kind of impresses them or singles them out. So, if somebody is able to do that, especially if they have something valuable to share, then hey.
And it is something, and it's a hard to find trait, that real go-getter mentality. I think when I've had to hire in the past, the people that really impress me are people that are self-motivated, because I'm the worst manager. And I don't micromanage.
You're like, I don't want to.
I'm a big picture guy. I can set the vision. but then I have to have people that are better micromanagers for me. Shout out Tammy and shout out Lori for always keeping my life and my businesses together, but I don't micromanage.
Yeah.
So you have to be self-motivated and a self-starter. And because I'm going to give you the big picture, you got to figure out how to get it done.
Yeah, for sure. And for you, how has, networking and building relationships with, you said so many names, and, what has that meant for you in business and just growing and being able to even backtrack, right?
Right. I think relationships are key. As first thing, looking back on my promoter life and childhood, me and our friends that we started a company with, we used to look at everybody as an opportunity. We used to say everyone we passed out a flyer to, that was $7. So you couldn't be scared to give out a flyer or go talk to this girl or talk to that guy, right?
Right.
Because everyone's an opportunity. It's that same mentality, like when networking, everyone is an opportunity. Everyone you meet, you have no idea what connection they have that you may need or what resource you may be to that person.
Right.
Because that karma is real and that circle of life will come back to you. So the same way you want a resource, you gotta also be a resource.
Right. And do you see, as far as like when you're doing that, were you strategic in that, or was it just like, I know you were young at that time, but even now, are you more strategic?
I think I am strategic, but I also treat people the same.
Yeah.
Right? So not just because you may be an opportunity, but that's just in my nature and in my character. And some of these less strategic networking connections have ended up being huge connections and part of my network. And like people say, your network is your net worth, right?
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Give me a story or an example of, maybe like where you met someone or that networking was able to turn into something that you had and maybe even something that took time to build.
Shanice, I'll tell you the perfect example that I think ignited my career. Just me being me, I had a vast array of friends in college and was friends with a diverse group of people. And one of my friends, she was dating a guy that worked at the Prasad Brothers, and through us just being good friends, and she had a lot of friends, but not the same group of network I had. She knew, hey, look, Dave, you're a good friend. My boyfriend at this time, we're coming to Houston for a wedding. I think you guys should meet. Me not knowing anything about this, I just wanted to be hospitable and show y'all my lovely city of Houston that I just moved to from college. Led to Eric saying, hey, man, Angelique told me what you were doing in college. You used to do parties. Well, not yet. I just got back here. I just got here to Houston. I'm still trying to figure things out. Nah, man, you got something, and I want you to learn more about my agency, but we're going to bring you this party. I think you're the man to do it. I was like, nah, I still don't have my network here in Houston. He's like, no, you're going to throw this party. And again, because it's connection, that I was a friend with this person and did good business and was a good friend and part of her network. Her introducing me to her boyfriend led to me meeting the Prasad Brothers, which snowballed into me understanding, hey, look, I can be more than a promoter. I can be an agency owner. Right. And so I think that is one example. The intention was never to, hey, I'm Angelique's friend because she's going to later on create what the rest of my life looks like.
Right. I think those pivotal moments when that happens, you get a glimpse of like, oh, wow, I think this could be something else. And then that's where you get more ideas.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Have you ever, familiar with the hero's journey?
No.
If not, got some homework for you.
Yeah, I like homework. Give it to me.
We can talk later.
Okay.
The hero's journey is a cycle that I think most successful people go through.
It's a book?
It's a theory.
Okay.
And Joseph Campbell, who is my favorite philosopher. Guys, homework. Stop the podcast real quick and go Google Joseph Campbell. And just watch his interviews. He will change your life. But he has a theory about the hero's journey. And you can look up the several steps of a hero's journey, but a couple of them include things that we've talked about. So you meet this person along your journey that's kind of your sage that points you in the right direction. For me, one of them is definitely my Uncle Danny.
Right.
But you had these glimpses early on of who you're going to be on this journey. And so for me, it was like,
I love that.
Yeah. So look into the hero's journey. I think it definitely applies to a lot of people's, not only their personal journeys, but their professional journeys as well.
Yeah, for sure. I like that. I'm gonna have to do my homework. And now y'all gonna see it on my Instagram. Talk about hero's journey.
And so the short watch is Finding Joe. And a friend of mine, Debbie Dev, she's been on the radio here. We were just talking, and she was like, "Here's a couple of movies or documentaries I think you may like," and she put me on to Finding Joe, which was about Joseph Campbell's hero journey.
Okay, I wonder if that on Netflix or something?
Yeah, Finding Joe, you can Google it.
Yeah.
It's either on YouTube or
probably everyone's on everything. Nice. I really like that. So for you, what are the next steps? I know sometimes in your space, things can be very spontaneous.
Yeah, things move fast in my life. The next half of my life includes growing the Heist Agency, and the name of the Heist Agency, because I'm big into stories and backgrounds, is Steal the Show. I like being behind the scenes, and so I believe that the talent that we have comes, they do the work, steal the show, and we're not here to steal your money. We just want to steal these shows. That's right. The Heist Agency, right? So growing the Heist Agency, I'm still evolving as a talent manager and what that looks like. But also I do know that part of my calling is not only promoting parties, but promoting people. So that's the management hat. And I still got a good knack for promoting brands and marketing brands. So
yeah, nice. So my last question, which I ask everyone, which is, tell me, what does it mean to you to discover your best self?
Discover your best self. My personal brand, success is the only option, but success only comes from finding your faults. And once you can come face to face with those faults, those fears, that is you discovering your best self. That's kind of scary, right? For a lot of people. It is very scary. It's scary for me. Right? But that is part of the hero's journey.
Wow. Okay, so say that again.
So success is the only option, but to be successful, you have to really dig in and find your faults and come face to face with your faults and your fears to discover your best self, because you're constantly evolving. And I don't think you ever really truly reach your best self. I think it's that evolution. Yeah, you're ever evolving. Sure. Yeah, I like that. Wow, that was nice. Man, so how can people find you? If they want to reach out, what's the best way? Hit me on Instagram. DA3, not the 3. David Anderson the third is where it comes from. DA3 on Instagram. Also on LinkedIn. I think it's LinkedIn /success is the only option. Nice. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for having me on the podcast. I don't usually do these things. Usually I'm behind the scenes, so I appreciate the honor. No, this was great. Congrats on everything. Yeah, thank you. Like I said, enjoyed the J.O. Malone interview, and I know I am one of the early adapters to being on your podcast. This will be digital, and you're watching on the big stage. So, and I'm here to help advertisers. Please tune in. I'm here. There's a reason. The trend has been ignited. So nice. Thank you. Absolutely. Real quick, Shanice, am I gonna be able to share this? Because I want to make sure my. I haven't stopped recording. All right, cool.
Thank you for listening to Discover Your Best Self. Don't forget to subscribe and comment. Follow us on Instagram @Discover Your Best Self.